Hi, good morning. This is Byung-Woo Jeon. I'm principal engineer at Ericsson, and also I'm ONAP TSC vice chair and ONAP outcome chair, and also acting ONAP release manager. So since the David left, so I'm acting the as a release manager. So today discussion about the ONAP release status highlights for New Delhi and Oslo. So agenda is release planning for Oslo, New Delhi, and the New Delhi release cycle, and also teams roles, and the unmaintained project management, and New Delhi release component remaining. And I'm gonna provide the release key updates, and then also OEM individual component handling, how OEM help the individual component handling. And also we're gonna show Oslo release schedule and focus. So this is a New Delhi, that's the current release. And since Montreal, we are applying the streamlining-based release planning, which is agile-based. We wrap component project individually and building and deploy individually. So through the Argo City in Deutsche Telekom case, but you can use any city tools. So OEM team, they enhance the Helm chart. So for now, New Delhi, each project Helm chart versions are now totally independent of marketing version. Means in Montreal, we follow the Montreal marketing, which is 13, and all component, they have to bump up into 13 major version, but in New Delhi, they don't have to. I'm gonna illustrate in the next slide there. So that's why each PTL decide the major, minor, and patch version. Before, they only decide minor and patch versions. Now they can control major too, based on the project release cycles. And also we simplified the release plan, having only 3 stages: kickoff, release candidate, and sign off. And also during the time between kickoff and RC, we are the coordinate between TSC, ARCOM, SECOM, OM, DOC, integration team, and release manager. We coordinate. And then the integration pairwise testing continues for overall ONAP product quality. And then also we continue security enhancement, project scanning, ingress, service mesh, SBOM. And New Delhi, as you see in this, RC is May 16, and sign off is June 5th, 24, June 6th. So we are discussing this release candidate date at TSC in coming weeks. So we're gonna decide, but this is the current schedule. So this is the release cycle, how we handle agile-based release cycle. So as I mentioned, we don't have M1, M2, M3, M4 milestones. We have a kickoff, RC, and sign off. Between that, they can coordinate dynamically between ARCOM, SECOM, OEM, DOC, integration, and TSC. As you can see, New Delhi release, there's some changes. Since the OEM team, Andreas Geisler and Deutsche Telekom OEM team, they enhanced the OEM chart. Now the project PTL, they can decide which version they are staying at. So some of them, for example, here, they're staying at the 13.10, which is the Montreal version, which is fine. And before, everybody has to jump to 14, but not anymore. So project has they have a multiple iteration, depends on how many the agile cycle they have. So that's up to PTL. And then each agile, they reviewed, the sprint is reviewed and approved by project team. And then we took the key learning from that the review, and we just determine what will be next step until RC. That's the cycle. So as you see, if there is no change for New Delhi, and it's okay, staying in the 13, and this is new change for New Delhi, that's fine. And we don't care how many iteration, we don't, the control, PTL controls. So that become, is all the Helm chart versioning is independent of the marketing version. So this is the enhancement. And then we're gonna adjust the RC and then sign up based on the how it goes. So we're gonna talk to PTLs and TSC, we're gonna have a meeting, and then we're gonna decide the actual date. That's the differences. This is the team role. I think I mentioned this one at Budapest. And release manager define marketing release and start RC sign-up plan and working with the PTL and then collect each project feature and enhancement and the define marketing release features. But release manager do not define project development cycle schedule because that belongs to PTL completely now. And then PTL has more roles. They are working with the project member and define scope, and then also determine managing agile cycle. And then also coordinate with the other committee members in ONAP. So these are the roles. And then I think we exercise this agile-based release plans since Montreal, but it worked very well. And then it actually simplified the process and saved a lot of time of the PTOs and other committee members. So it worked fine. And we will continue this process for Oslo. That's our plan. So this is so far so good. So here, briefly mention about ONAP unmaintained project management. So we trim down unneeded, unmaintained ONAP projects, not in New Delhi, for making lightweight ONAP. Another way, core, we define. I'm gonna give you more detail in the next session. And then also security. So many of the unmaintained the project, they're not updating their patch. So when we scan the security, we find many vulnerabilities. So that's why trim down, we focus in the what the actual remaining the component, it will increase security. And also that support effectiveness and the maintenance. So that's the one. So you can see this link when you have chance. There's a list of what the candidate for to be deprecated. So that's the list. So Andreas Geisler, he provided this list to TSC, and then TSC approved this April 18th. So this is official for New Delhi. And if you look at the right side, so many of the components are deprecated. For example, CLI, we don't use this any longer. And actually, I cannot say that we don't need it because there's no demand for this. And also, many of the DCAE subcomponents are deprecated because of the DMAP MR. We want to deprecate DMAP MR, message router. So many of the components, they use this router. So accordingly, these components are deprecated. DCA is still there, but subcomponent using DMAP MR are deprecated. And also DMAP message router deprecated in New Delhi. And also in DMAP, there is the DR component, which is data router. So we are analyzing, can we remove this in Oslo? So that's under discussion. And the reason we are doing is in ONAP, we try to focus on ONAP specific function. So any platform level services, for example, point-to-point messaging and PubSub messaging, we don't use ONAP specific solution any longer. We want to replace with the industry or de facto. So for example, DMAP MR will be replaced by StreamG Kafka. So that's the better way. So we don't have to have this kind of ONAP specific things. Also, MSP, those things done, and also modeling SD catalog, and then also VFC will be deprecate. But in case someone needs again for SC alignment, they can bring back. But now the demand is not high, so we decide to deprecate for this now, and then later on we bring back the SC alignment in ONAP for some reason, then the connection to ORAN SC, we don't know yet. But anyway. So these the component are deprecated. And I'm gonna give you some more detail in next sessions, why we're doing this and then what's the impact. So this in Montreal, we already deprecate MSB. Now it's used by, replaced by service mesh, which works very well. And then it supports service mesh, support the MTLS, secure communication, without needing the ONAP specific certificate handling this. And CPS temporal, we deprecate. New Delhi, we decide to deprecate many of the components, as I mentioned before, CLI, VNFSK, NBI. NBI is kind of a, Deutsche Telekom still using NBI internally, so they are using their own purposes. So it works well. Then they might upstream NBI, but until then, NBI is deprecated. And OF is optimization framework, not much demanding. So HOMES, MR, from MR component from DCA Gen 2, and modeling and DMAP MR will be gone, and VVPs. And then also, so in Oslo, I mentioned DMAP, entire DMAP can be deprecated, and we're gonna replace it with the StreamG Kafka. So that's the plan. And then Poro NG from Deutsche Telekom is officially added to ONAP. Before they did some POC, but the Poro NG replacing old Poro. So they have a new face and a new way of handling, including security handling too. So this is a brief diagram, what happened in the New Delhi. So anything gray components are deprecated. So we focused on the what ONAP gonna do, for New Delhi and then next. So this is the, you can look at this link for New Delhi status and also key updates and release document. You can look at this link, but just for today, there's some the enhancement ANI, which is inventory system. We did some fixes, bulk performance management, and then also remove the MR dependencies, and then also new the version of Janus Graph. And CCSDK also provide the incident API. This is the enhancement by Huawei and China Mobile. They try to have incident management, smart incident management, intent-based, possibly in the future plug in AI. So they updated CCSDK for API. And CPS twine here to continuous the performance improvement, and then put the new VERS event, and then also some comparison feature, and also upgrade modeling, and then also subscription-based CM data notification, and also 3GPP FN identifier. So this is good. And also DCA Gen 2, there's a VERS collector. They removed the DMAP MR dependencies. This is good. And I told the ORAN team, because they are using VERS collector in their OAM, and they are still using the old VERS collector, which using the DMAP MR. So I told him the coming release, we don't have this the DMAP MR dependencies, so they have to upgrade to using StreamG Kafka. So, and then SMMP trap, and then PRF handler, and then DMAP is deprecate of course. And the policy, I think most of the component small changes relate to DMAP MR. We don't want to depend on the deprecated function. So Poro NG, there's an upgrade. And the UUI is a major enhancement. Both China Mobile, China Telecom, they're adding their effort into this, the UUI, to support the Gen AI. There are two approaches they are following. So both of them, they supporting the Gen AI. And China Telecom, on top of that, they trying to put the data service, which is domain-specific tuning parameter. So genetic, the AI is too genetic, basically. So they adding additional tuning parameter, which is data collector. That means that when they render new the parameter, then they can do better. So that's the one, but we can give some more detail next time. So Andreas and OEM team, they did some infrastructure improvement. So Kubernetes version, Istio, operator, Kicklock, they upgraded. And then there's a bunch of the OEM, the enhancement. There are sections in today. The Florian Bachmann from Deutsche Telekom, he will provide OEM enhancement. Probably he can give more details.
Yes,
So this is what they're gonna give this one, but I'd like to cover this one too briefly. So this is how ONAP OEM handle component individually. So basically, they individually build through the CI, and then they are Deutsche Telekom case, they are using Argo City for deployment. So ONAP used to be a big, gigantic platform, but not any longer. It is the collection of network automation functions. To support that, OEM, they enhanced the scripts and the mechanism. So they using Argo City in Deutsche Telekom case, but we don't have to use Argo City. I think vendor others, they can choose others, like Flux, something else. But their case is they're using Argo City. And then they, once the component is built, they deploy their individual component as they need it. So for them, this is very important. I'm gonna tell you why this is important in the next sessions as a Deutsche Telekom input. So also, Andreas Geisler and OEM team, Deutsche Telekom, this is a new ONAP chart. Before, this is ONAP main chart linked to each component chart. That caused some issue of the individually deploy. So he broke the tie. So now we don't have to use ONAP chart. And this is the ONAP component chart. So they individually handle this, the Helm and then also the building. So that's why he decoupled so now the ONAP can wrap individual component and deploy individually. That's the OEM, the enhancement. So Oslo release schedule and focus. So as I mentioned, New Delhi kickoff was November 30, and RC was May 16, and then sign up is June 6. That's the one, that's the New Delhi. And TSC will decide we're gonna approve this schedule or not in coming weeks. And also we define the New Delhi, the Oslo kickoff day, which is May 9, and RC candidate is November 21st, and sign off December 12. This is not yet approved by TSC. And next week, May 9th, and we are planning to discuss this and then having TSC voting. That's for this. So bottom line is we doing agile based, and PTL, they handle their own project as they want. And then we have between kickoff and RC, they can do whatever. They can decide how many iterations they're gonna do, and major version, minor version, patch version, they can decide what they want. OM, new OOM, the umbrella script chart, they can plug in any kind of version. So we don't need that kind of a control, the high. So anyway, this is good enhancement. And the Oslo, what are you gonna do? On next session, I'm gonna talk about more detail, what we're gonna do, why we're gonna do that. So here, as a brief, in Oslo, we want to do right size focused network automation functions. As I mentioned, ONAP is collection of network automation function. Many of the unneeded the maintained project are deprecated in New Delhi. So now we have a core remaining ONAP component we control. We want to even for the control size, and so we want to focus it. So based on use cases, so we build a component individually. We deploy component individually. They're based on the use cases. They collect, pick and choose, and then they aggregate, and then that becomes solution. So and next session we're going to talk about Deutsche Telekom input. That's actually working on that. And also China Mobile, China Telecom, they are working on lightweight ONAP for now. So this is much better. And also we want to collaborate with other open source projects, especially we focus on Oren RC, and Nephew. So Shanko, the next session, I'm gonna talk to about his input, because yesterday and the day before, Oren OAM, they already using SDN-C and SDN-R from ONAP, and also they are using best collector. So they actually, picking the ONAP component. So before I had a meeting with the Oren SC team, because they complain about, they use an old version of the ONAP. So they said, oh, we have to bring whole platform, we don't need the whole platform. So what are you gonna do? And then, but we said, Andreas and I said, we have a solution, ONAP streamlining. So you don't have to pick up everything. So just pick whatever you need. So even before that, even we didn't announce to Alex, but OAM already taking the SDN-C, SDN, maybe Shankar already provide the input. So that's what, I think the ONAP streamer is a good thing, and the other community can pick and choose. And so also we try to have some connection between ONAP as a high-level SO, and then talking to Oren SMO, and then Oren SMO, and maybe they are working on the connection dot to Nephew. And China Mobile, they have some thinking about the link between ONAP to Nephew directly. That's another coming, and probably we're gonna talk about in Oslo. So this is the schedule. And then also we're gonna evaluate the technologies, new technologies, and value-added feature to the telecom industry to make it make ONAP relevant. Okay, so China Mobile, China Telecom, they put a lot of investment into AI, ML, intent-based network automation. I think for now they are leveraging the ONAP UI, user, the UI, use case UI, and they transform human input and then based on AI and transform into parameter, then ONAP can consume. So more and more, they are providing more effort, and China Telecom and China Mobile, they have their own way to handle. So I'm gonna describe that next sessions. And also security is very important. So we want to enhance the ONAP component build deployment security. And currently we are using Elephant CI/CD process, but we're thinking about maybe we can make a secure CI/CD. So we have some kind of a study, but using OpenSSF Fresca. But anyway, it's not. We just discussed at the ONAP SACOM Security Committee. We talk about how to secure CI/CD itself, because and also we generate SBOM. But as you know, if we generate SBOM through unsecured CI/CD, that SBOM cannot be trusted, because people can inject the malicious things. So that means based on that they generate SBOM, that's really not accurate and then also dangerous. So that's why we thinking about how to secure CI/CD itself. That's another study item in the Oslo. And log generation standard format conformance and logging framework. I think that probably a couple weeks ago, ONAP SACOM committee, we created a standard format for logging for security. And then that become global requirements in ONAP. So we define the field, what field we have to generate for security logging. So not all ONAP component comply to that, the requirement, but the CPS TOAN is handling is they have a nice the implementation following that the format, also following that the where to send. So another requirement is ONAP standard. ONAP component just responsible for generating the log content through the standard out, standard error. That's only their responsibility. Rest of them were taken care of by the log framework. Like we, for example, front bit, the Elasticsearch and the Kibana. So we decoupled logging management from ONAP, and we just delegate to the industry tools. So that's what we don't need any, those two platform level tool any longer in ONAP. So we just delegate and use it. That's the point. The reason we discuss this, Ericsson team, they developed this POC before, and then at certain point we stopped, and then we hand up to the community. And I learned the Tata communication. They picked up, and they playing with the log, the standard format. Also, they are working on the logging framework. So it may be possible Tata communication to contribute their security enhancement and logging framework enhancement in Oslo that we're looking for that. So, okay, that's the one other one. So last one, documentation guidelines. This is one of the suggestions from China Mobile, China Telecom, and many other companies, because we don't have the documentation. So, okay, we achieved first phase of the ONAP streamlining. So we build component individually and deploy component individually. What are you gonna do with it? And so we try to document kind of a cataloging. So this component do what can do, what kind of interfaces they're doing it. And if you want to, how they're using together, okay? Those kind of a guidance, we try to creating some documentation. So if a vendor operator or the academic area, they want to use ONAP, they want to using it, they want to use ONAP for their own use cases. And based on use case, they can compose the ONAP component and make other component in the plugin. So for that, they need some kind of documentation guidelines. That's what we're trying to do. So this is what we focus on Oslo. And this is what I have for this. And next section, I'm gonna put the OSC, ONAP TSC initiative, and then providing another document, the information about the architecture, okay? So that's about it. If any question, and before we jump into next, then we're gonna 3-minute breaks, and we're gonna jump to next one. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then also stop recording.